Alright, hello, and this is going to be my first Dark Souls video with commentary. I haven't actually done one of these before,
In the
and
age of ancient.
it's gonna be new. So, I have played through the game a few times now, done a little bit of PvP, just tried out what's there, and I remember my first playthrough, I had no idea where to go or what there was to do,
Yes, indeed.
I realized that
The dark sign brands
PvE
the undead.
run-throughs have been done to death, so level 1, done that, little, base level runs, whatever.
And in this land,
I figure there's probably going to be,
the
I
undead
might as well
are
give it a shot at just trying, what's there. Just trying the easiest and especially a new player-friendly way through. Not necessarily the most challenging or, picking up every item and going into every little bit of detail, but just to get a general idea of how to play and without making the first run through too difficult. So, anyway, I started out as the warrior class here, primarily because I think that it's one of the easiest starting classes, possibly besides Pyromancer, and it starts with reasonably high vitality, one of the higher ones, as well as high strength and dexterity, which really complements the longsword. I don't have a ton of experience with the longsword, but I do. Yeah, I've used, the straight swords. They have a fantastic moveset and are exceptional for quality builds. So, yeah, past few playthroughs I've started out doing challenge runs, and so I guess kept the same stats the entire way through. But, yeah, I just finished up my sorcerer, and I've done the level 3, and I'm also a good part of the way through with the thief. Yeah, I do definitely enjoy the game. I've got a few guys for online play, but no, I figured I'd finally do a on-camera playthrough, or most of it, not necessarily to help, unearth anything new, but just to give a go at, trying it for myself. Yeah, I realize it probably seemed, if anybody has played the game extensively before, it's this video series or whatever it may end up being. Probably not for you, because it's going to be very basic. Not, I'm not the best player. Wouldn't even say I'm great, but I can say pretty confidently that I am better than the average new player, and that's, I guess, the point of this. Yeah. So here is the Asylum Demon, which I had tried to record a few all my playthroughs in the past, and just against bosses and boss fights and things. And I am absolutely terrible on camera. I can't explain what it is. Camera of me as well as playing, and I don't know what it is. It just frees up or something. So, yeah, I always get hit like 4 times by the Asylum Demon. It's kind of bad. So no, heading out of the Asylum here has taken almost 4.5 minutes. So, yeah, like I said, I've never done any kind of commentary, anything before.
Only in the ancient
I promise it's
legends
a
it is
lot longer when you
stated
actually have to talk the entire time.
that one day an undead.
So, I'm sorry if I'm depriving you of all the wonderful cutscenes here, because honestly, for how, from what I understand, low budget and relatively low staff the game was compared to a lot of the, what are they, AAA or whatever people call them, the big budget games. The cutscenes in this are really something special, and I do love getting into the lore. I mean, this is my first time on this side of YouTube, and I have been creeping around watching all the lore videos, all the PvP, all the everything there is, and I love, you know, how into this game you can get. Well, on the surface you can play through the entire game, have virtually no idea what's going on at all, and it doesn't really matter because the game doesn't care if you understand it. And that's probably one of my favorite things, is that you can kind of decide how into it you want to get. And it's a very rare feature in a game, because usually either the story is pushed on you, and, you know, for better or worse, if it's a good story, then, but this is very indirect about it, and usually I'd be wary of that kind of thing, because that usually means that there is no story, and that's definitely not the case here. So I don't know how much I can say, given that it is now, that's funny, June 1st of 2013, so the game has been out for 20 months now, almost 2 years I think. I got it last summer or fall, so yeah, it's showing its age now, and people have kind of, by that I mean only that people have figured out most of what there is to figure out, not that the game is at all lessening in quality or anything. Well, that's, you know, a matter of personal opinion, but no, people have figured out, or speculated on at least, I don't know how much of it is actually confirmed, pretty much everything that there is to know. So, I mean, of course I'm as excited as anyone about Dark Souls 2 coming out, but I figure I want to get a few more miles out of this one, definitely. I'll probably be playing this for quite some time longer. Yeah, as I was saying, I have definitely never done a playthrough with an audience, I guess I'll say. And yeah, so I realize that I'm doing a few more parries than the average first-time player is going to lean towards, but nothing outstanding here in that. I don't know, I guess I'm just probably more used to the sorcerer with that dagger. That's what I've been up to recently. So here we are getting into the Undead Burg, which it's a lot of new players spend a lot of time here, especially with the early bosses, Taurus, the I guess just getting to the parish, and especially getting past the dragon, which, realizing that I'm going to do as much of a playthrough as I can, you know, we'll get to everything. So, like I said, I don't typically use the longsword. I am not 100% confident in its moveset. I misjudged the range there. But, no, I have an awful compulsion to repair weapons every time I go to a bonfire, completely, so, every time I do that little hesitate down to level up, that's what that is. Longsword isn't strong enough to one-shot the Hollow Soldiers at this point, so that's, I guess, why I'm doing a lot of the parries, because, I mean, yes, they're easy to just hit because they don't have shields or anything. These guys, that's for new players. I didn't know about the kick until I was at the Lord Souls, I want to say, on my first playthrough, which, I mean, yes,
Well,
it's
you seem to
very
think
much possible to get by without it, but anyway, it's something that can be useful against enemies with shields, because that deflection can be discouraging when they get you with it. Here, I guess, I don't really know what to grab. I mean, this, if you're interested in getting the Drake Sword, you're going to need a bow and some arrows, probably, because doing that much damage to its tail early on, or early enough on that you would want the Drake Sword, is doubtful with an unupgraded weapon. I mean,
Thank you.
I haven't actually tried it, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Drake Sword, actually. Like I said, my first playthrough, I didn't really understand a lot of the mechanics, and so I ended up getting to Enerlando and getting the Uchigatana to Lightning, and still upgrading strength and dexterity, so I think I had like 30 of each, and I was still using a lightning weapon, which, like I said, I mean, I didn't really notice the difference, but I was like, no, it's working fine. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, so I could not, for anything, beat Ornstein and Smo. My first playthrough with that lightning Uchigatana, presumably because it was lightning, and Ornstein is not exactly weak to lightning, so I did end up doing that with the Drake Sword, which, yeah, it's shows. Anyway, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it at this point, so I probably won't be getting that. I end up going in this room because I remember there was a chest in here, but I couldn't remember exactly what was inside. Black fire bombs I never use, because if I need fire, then I'll get a pyromancy flame, because fire bombs do next to no damage. They're just kind of arrows if you don't have, or very short range damage. Going into this room is for gold pine resin, 3 of which can be very useful, especially with a fast weapon. Something that new players might be interested to know is that when you use a buff on a weapon, like magic weapon with a sorcerer, or any other buff, obviously, or gold, or poison, or not poison, what am I talking about? Yeah, I guess. Pine resin, then it does the full damage of the buff with each hit. So naturally you're going to benefit more from faster swinging weapons, because they're going to get more hits in. It's a static increase in damage, it's not multiplied by the weapon itself, so that's why faster weapons are generally the ones, dexterity weapons are the ones to use buffs on, for the most part. I am going to use one in the Taurus Demon fight right up ahead, partially because honestly I haven't fought the Taurus Demon in a little while, and I'm not 100% confident in how it would go, because it's my first try on him in a little while, and I thought it'd be kind of embarrassing if I lost to him. But also because you have seen by now the numbers that I'm hitting with the Uchigatana. Looking right here, it's a 70 damage heavy attack, that kind of thing, and just for that in reference against the Taurus Demon, just a point to compare it to with how much damage the buff is adding, and new players can realize that by using that and charcoal pine resin, which is available early in the game and in much greater volume, that they can really supplement their damage. So, Taurus Demon here, the typical strategy is to climb up the ladder and fall on him and stab your sword or axe or possibly fist, I don't know, into his head. So, yeah, I forgot to equip the gold pine resin. So, falling attack, right. Here I get a little bit caught up in his legs. Honestly, I have no idea what's actually going on. But you can see that hitting let's say a 163 with a light attack, two-handed, that's nothing to be in it. It's not a bad number. So obviously I didn't end up needing the resin, but no, if you're having a lot of trouble with the Taurus Demon, then I would definitely recommend that as something to try. Before I forget, the room that you get that resin in, it takes either the master key, which I started with. I didn't know when my first playthrough I picked the Tiny Beings ring because it said regenerate health, and I thought that was incredible, but no, it was a little deceptive, and by that I mean completely not what it said at all. So, no, Master Key allows you to open up a lot of shortcuts, and most people's favorite, skip Upper Blighttown. But no, you either need that or the Residence Key, which you can get from killing that merchant that I did for the katana. Or you can buy it from him for, I believe, 1,000 souls. So, running down the dragon here, before all these patches, he would aggro at ridiculous range. So here, you come down and kick this ladder, which essentially gives you a shortcut directly from this bonfire to the